Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having an amazing day like I am. We're going to take a quick look at Matic, and just before we do, we usually look at Bitcoin, but we're going to exclude that altogether here today, just for time's sake, plus just simple fact that I'll probably cover that in its entirety on its own video. But for now, if you're new to the channel, just know I love teaching people how to trade, and of course, it's my passion. I do this every single day for work, and it's just truly something that brings me great joy to be able to help you become better traders. So I've got a trading community with that design purpose. I have a trading academy I'm rolling out with next month, and new slots will become available as of January 1st for my premium account, where I send out swing trade signals and day trade signals to my community members. And in fact, we just had one take profit here today for Matic. We took profit at 285. So we're going to take a look, of course, here to see what the next profit target might look like. I think it's 320, and then kind of move on from there and see roughly where we're at. But for the most part, I just make these videos for my members, and I do want to thank you again so much for joining me here. Looking at Matic, one-day chart, we're above all the moving averages. Those are pretty much null and void on the 1 day. The key takeaway here is that we just broke through the key level resistance, which was a potential issue for about 3 days straight, and now today, here it is, moving right on up, okay? So we'll look at that here in just a moment, but all the moving indicators are good. RSI is closer to 70 right now, which is perfectly fine, but we can expect 70 to possibly be a resistance level, which is essentially concurrent with $2.88. So 288 is effectively a key level resistance for now. Okay, so taking a look here, just to kind of clarify what I was meaning, what I want to kind of specify here is that, yeah, Bitcoin came up here, Matic came up and hit this resistance, of course, retrace and continue to kind of stay within the zone. Now, this zone right here is the previous 1 day candlestick close. Let me actually show you here. Might be a little bit, make a little bit more sense. So the 1 day candlestick close and, of course, the all-time high. Now, you always want to mark both of those as resistance levels because the 1 day candlestick high is one thing, but a 1 day candlestick close is also another. In other words, this is the 1 day candlestick close, previous resistance / new support, and this 1 day, basically the all-time high effectively, was the major resistance level. So that creates a channel, and we can see that the price was kind of traveling within this zone for a little while. Now that it's above, and likely will close above, we should be in good shape. So unless we see a significant pullback from Matic, we should expect the price to continue to progress upwards. It may even come down and bounce off of 270, the previous high, right? A previous all-time high is considered a new support level once it's broken after it closes in the 1 day candlestick. And we haven't effectively closed above that yet, right? So it's a little premature, but the likelihood of it is pretty high considering how much momentum we have in the day. We've got about 6 hours left of trading activity in this this 1 day candlestick. So all good stuff there. The only thing I see here is that we're getting closer to an exhaustive state on TD sequential. So I wouldn't be surprised we do see a pullback to come back here to $2.70 as a round number to effectively cause that to be the next support level. And what that would do is that would cause us to have a new higher high and a higher low, of course. And then we'll probably see the price continue to progress upwards after a bit of resistance, again, below 280, but the price shouldn't go any lower than 270, right? Based on the sentiment alone, and just the fact that previous all-time highs, which is 270, is now likely a new key level support. Okay, again, we need the 1 day candlestick to close above that, but it does feel like we're trending towards that at this point. Just note, we have a 9 on TD sequential, so we could see a pullback, which wouldn't be terrible if the price were to kind of come back and consolidate at 270. Give us a better buying opportunity, and then essentially have the price continue upwards from there. Now, this is all pending Bitcoin doesn't drop its bottom, right? So keep that in mind. Bitcoin did test its key level support level at 49,500 recently. It held, and we actually have a long position to the upside for Bitcoin as well. It's more of a short-term swing trade, of course, but the bottom line is that I feel confident that Bitcoin should continue to progress upwards over the next few days, and Matic should also follow suit based on that sentiment alone. Now, moving on to just say the TD sequential for the 1 hour, let's quickly look at that. We see we got a 9, and now we got a reset here. So we may not see as low of a bottom as we expected. Yes, the 4 hour TD sequential is telling us we're at an exhaustive state, but we could technically go another 16 hours higher based on the simple fact that TD sequential gives you the kind of that range. You got the extra plus 4 bars. Here, you see that we got a reset. We didn't continue upwards. We got down. Now we're down to a 3. So there's a possibility we could see a progression down another 6 to 7 hours, but it could even reverse and come back up as well. It's kind of hard to say specifically at this point in time, but I think we're more likely to see the price come back down to 270 than we are for it to continue to just blast right through its key level resistance right now. Now, granted, Bitcoin jumps up to 52,000, 53,000, breaks the key level resistance. We might see Matic take off a lot sooner than expected. But I think Bitcoin's going to be just kind of a slow progressive upwards over the next couple of days, and that should allow Matic to consolidate closer to 270. All right, now taking a look at Ichimoku Cloud, we got all good signs here, but just note that if the price doesn't come up here and break this key level resistance, then the lagging span will intersect with the price action, and that would give us essentially a sell signal within about 12 hours. So again, in the next 12 hours, if we do not see this price continue to progress higher than the previous resistance of 288, then we'll get that reset on Ichimoku Cloud, essentially telling us we want to close our position. It doesn't necessarily mean we got to close everything, right? You just literally could just trim your position a little bit, small percentage off the top. You could do nothing, or if you have a day trade, that you took yesterday, you might want to close it soon because you would have been in profit, and there's no need to get greedy if the price is going to pull back to support. Okay, that's the general concept there. So again, by no means does the Ichimoku Cloud tell you to close your HODL position, right? It's nothing like that. It's just kind of more of a short-term indication of the fact that you might experience a pullback, and if so, you may want to consider buying the next dip. Me personally, I love buying the dips when the dips are at key level supports that were previous all-time highs. That to me is a really big deal. So I would say that 270. In fact, I'm going to set my alert for 272. So if we get the price to come down that low, that might be a good consideration to add to your position, or to take a little run back up to 288 for an extra 5%, right? There's different little ways you can do it, of course, but Matic is exuding some pretty good qualities right now, but just don't be surprised we get a slight pullback based on the fact that we're overextending the TD sequential at 4 hour. And also note that, of course, the Ichimoku Cloud is potentially giving us a sell signal in the next 12 hours, but we're not there yet. So right now, just keep everything open, leave it the way it is. Let Matic do its thing. If it comes down, we'll buy the dip. If it doesn't, all the more power to you, because our price will just continue to increase, because we do currently have a position open right now. Because this is one thing I want to explain too. I get this question a lot from non-members. Like, well, how do you take profits and you consistently, set new profit targets? Well, before we even took this trade as a community, we set the profit targets well in advance, right? So the first 3 profit targets are set initially when you take the trade. You don't just jump in and kind of arbitrarily consider taking profits at specific points. It's like, oh, okay, it's overextended, I'm going to sell now. That can work for you sometimes, but it's not going to be consistent. You want to set a target and stick to it. It's just like goals in life, right? How are you going to obtain your goals if you've never set them, okay? Same concept applies with trading. You always set 3 profit targets and likely a trailing stop loss. Now, swing trades might be a different story, but if you have a short-term day trade, you want to have a trailing stop loss to prevent any maximum losses. But the bottom line here is that you should be in good shape to add to your position to Matic, closer to 270, and that ultimately if you're setting multiple profit targets, you're going to be in much better shape. We set 3 at all times. I think it was like 280, 285 was our first profit target. We just hit that. And then I think our next one is 320, which is right here at this next key level resistance. Okay. So again, oftentimes you want to set profit targets just below key level resistance levels, such as major Fibonacci retracement lines. Just some friendly advice. So I hope that makes sense to you. I apologize for the rant and the rave, but I just like to kind of continue to reiterate best practice, because it's a tragedy when I see a lot of people get wrecked and they don't know why. It's just it's simply put, you didn't have a good standard foundation of when you started your trade. You never waver from that. Don't start waffling around and start moving your targets all over the place. Set them, forget them, let it do its thing, right? Let it go ahead and hit its target when you want. And each target too, by the way, you want to consider taking a certain percentage each time. We usually do somewhere between 50 to 80% in the target 1, and then the last remaining, 50 to 20% profit target 2, etc. There's ways to work that out, of course. It's all dependent on your risk tolerance, but I think the important thing is to set multiple profit targets. That's something a lot of people forget to do. All right, thanks again for joining me here. I hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you in the next video. You take care. Thanks again.